Welcome back. I, 25 female, have been unfaithful to my boyfriend, 28. We've been together for 3 years, and when we first started dating, I fell deeply in love with him. Joe, as I'll call him here, was sweet and loving, and made me feel loved and cared for. We fell in love during lockdown and have been together since. However, we had issues, particularly in the bedroom. Joe has not had extensive experience, as had I, and despite discussing it extensively, he wouldn't perform certain acts that I enjoyed. Even when he did them upon my insistence, he would often rush through them to get them over with. Therefore, I no longer found pleasure in sleeping with him. Sex with him became just another chore for me. Not enjoyable, not adventurous like it had been with my previous partners. He took good care of me in every other way, but he failed miserably in this. A few days ago, I went on a night out with some of the friends from college. There was one guy with whom I had had a brief friends with benefits situation shortly before I had become official with my boyfriend. We've always had sexual tension, and I admit I knew what I was walking into that night. As expected, we met, slipped away from the rest of the gang, and ended up at a motel that he had booked beforehand. When we went to the room, we found another guy waiting there, a friend of my FWB's whom he had called to be there. We ended up having a threesome. I enjoyed it so much because I had felt so unsatisfied for so long in my official relationship. We parted ways in the early hours of the next morning, but promised to keep in touch. The next morning, I went to my shared apartment and was overcome with so much guilt. My boyfriend is such an amazing person, and when I thought about how I betrayed him, I broke down and confessed to my flatmate. She urged me to come clean to my boyfriend, so I did. He came afterwards, and we talked. I spent the day crying while he lashed out, calling me awful names. Finally, my flatmate could take no more of his behavior and threw him out. He left, but kept texting me how terrible I am and how this has ruined the life he was building for us. I kept apologizing and crying because I didn't know what else to do. I was getting scared because his texts were getting increasingly abusive and derogatory in nature. It looked like he was having a meltdown, and he kept calling me by various slangs. Finally, his calls and texts stopped after a few hours. I thought he had finally calmed down and was expecting to hear from him in the next few days, but he never reached out. He never answered my calls or my texts either. This brings us to today. Since he was unresponsive, I got worried thinking of the worst and went by his place. He answered the door and looked fine, so I told him I wanted us to sit down and talk for the first time like adults. And the second a slang escaped his mouth, I'm walking out the door, and that would be the last he would see of me. I was not prepared to be insulted, and if he doesn't feel like he can't move past this incident, then we should part ways. He stared at me for a while and said that he thought he had already seen the last of me when he left my place the other day. Then asked why I thought we were still together after I spread my legs at not one but 2 men. I had no answer to that, and after some back and forth, I left. Currently, I'm on my way to my place, holding back tears. I'm confused about how I should feel. I feel awful for what I did, and I don't know what to do. I'm unsure if I want to leave him, but sadly that decision has already been made for me by him. I love him so much, and I feel bemused by what happened. I always thought our relationship would not or could be ended by a singular incident. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do now. I know I messed up big time, but I want to fix this. I want to ease his pain, and I know he's hurting beneath the tough exterior he's putting on. I don't want to confide in any of my friends. I'm not sure if he's told anyone, but I won't be revealing it to anyone either anytime soon. I'm going to call my FWB and inform him of the current situation as well. I cannot have him or his friend telling anybody anything from that night. Please, what would any of you do in my situation? Edit. I wasn't waiting for him to take the initiative to reach out and fix what I broke. I don't know what gave that idea. I tried reaching out to him, but he never answered or called back. That's why I went to his place. So currently, I'm giving him space to process things because that's what he seems to need. I just wanted him to be direct with me and say it instead of hiding. Is that wrong? Edit 2. No, we aren't broken up. He never said that. I've had time to think things through, and I'm gonna go over to his place later today. If he's breaking up with me, he needs to be upfront and say that to my face. No more games. Edit 3. So I went by his place and his friends were there. One girl got particularly snappy with me, so I had to leave. I didn't see my boyfriend, and I don't think he heard them getting smart with me or he would have intervened. His brother called me yesterday and warned me to back off too. I've recorded the call, and I'm gonna play it to my boyfriend when he comes over. Comments. It can be incredibly frustrating to be in a relationship with someone who has a lot more experience in the bedroom department, because they invariably choose to engage in sexual activities with someone else. It would be beneficial for both individuals involved to end the relationship. I understand that I cannot dissuade you from pursuing this FWB again, even if there is a slim chance of them contacting you after using you for their own pleasure. However, at the very least, you can assist your new boyfriend by allowing them to move on and providing them with some advice. It seems like your relationship has already ended given the circumstances. Cheating is a deal breaker for many individuals. And in your case, you had a threesome. That's disgusting on so many levels. It's uncertain whether you can repair the damage caused. It would be best to give him time and space to process his emotions. Given the breach of trust through your infidelity, it's unlikely that he would consider marrying you in the future. Story 2. I, 24 female, am approaching the 1-year mark in my relationship with my boyfriend, 28. But a few weeks ago, I made the terrible decision to cheat. Immediately after it happened, I confessed to my partner, although I approached the conversation cautiously. He asked for all the details about what occurred, and despite the discomfort, I told him everything. I genuinely love and value my partner, but at the time of the incident, I felt lonely. Our relationship is long distance, and we don't get to see each other often. But when we do, it's a beautiful experience. The moment it happened, I regretted it instantly. My mind was never fully engaged in the act, and I just wanted to come clean. We met up afterwards, and our discussion escalated into multiple arguments. Eventually, we went to the beach at night, where we talked, cried, got drunk, and had sex in the car. He initially said we could still spend time together, but a few days later he became upset again and expressed that he doesn't want to see me. I'm trying to give him space, hoping it might help in some way. But I'm torn apart because I betrayed his trust. Our relationship was very serious, with talks of marriage, kids, and the possibility of a proposal next year. At this point, I'm unsure about anything. It's disheartening. I truly messed up. Edit. I didn't come here seeking pity for my actions of cheating, nor do I view myself as the victim in this situation. I'm fully aware that I caused hurt and betrayed my partner's trust, and I take complete responsibility for that. I don't expect anyone to hand me forgiveness or take my side. I made a foolish decision, and I'm not here to beg for absolution. I understand that I'm entirely at fault in this situation, and I deeply hurt someone who genuinely cares about me. I don't anticipate that person forgiving and forgetting as if nothing happened, as I essentially disregarded their feelings. I haven't come here to sugarcoat or downplay my actions. You are all providing me with honest responses, and I am accepting them. I have to live with the consequences of my actions, and I understand that it may not be possible to fix things. I'm sorry if my words have reopened old wounds. I should have never allowed things to escalate to this point, and I should have been more open and honest from the beginning. Sometimes there may not be another opportunity or sufficient time to correct the situation. And the best course of action is to offer the most sincere apology possible, and to come to terms with the possibility of losing the person. Persisting in trying to remain a part of their life becomes another self-centered act beyond that point. Comments. Listen, you cheated because you believed there would be no consequences. But as soon as you started considering the repercussions, guilt crept in. The fact that you mentioned not denying it after I didn't bring up denial indicates that you see yourself as the victim rather than your boyfriend. Why do you expect pity for cheating? Nobody here is going to applaud you for saying, "I messed up," but I'm willing to make things right with my partner. Engaging in this common tactic used by cheaters disgusts me to the core. I have been in a long-term relationship with my boyfriend, and if I ever have doubts or feel like my love is fading, do you know what I do? I communicate with him. And do you know what he does? He listens and takes me on dates to rekindle that spark. I do the same for him. Being in a relationship means actively communicating. You failed to communicate, and now you expect everything to be handed to you on a silver platter. You need to face the consequences of your mistakes because you shattered this man. It's your own fault that you destroyed this relationship. You had something meaningful, and you cheated for what? Yeah, I'm speaking from a place of anger because I've been cheated on before.